Hello all, welcome back to Kalam IAS Academy. This is Priyanka Mahapatra, faculty at Kalam IAS for Essay. Today we have taken up another topic of UPSC Essay Paper 2024 and the topic is Forests precede civilizations and deserts follow them. So why do you think that this topic has become the first topic of this year mains? You will be amazed to know that UPSC has once again inaugurated its mains paper with the essay on the theme forest. Because in year 2022, already this thing has happened when UPSC asked another essay on the same theme, that is forest. The topic was forest are the best case studies for economic excellence. But this time it is with a difference that it has come up with an addition of deserts. So you should be prepared for this very theme, that is forest, which is coming again and again. So coming to the original question, that why at all this topic has erupted. So this is in context of the world which continues to face severe and significant deforestation rates, particularly in the tropical regions. And this loss of forest has severe consequences for biodiversity, for climate regulation, and the livelihoods of millions of people. Where does this quotation come from? This quotation is by French philosopher Chateaubriand. Let me just write it again. French philosopher. Right? So this is in context of the severe deforestation rates that the world is now facing, and this deforestation or the loss of forest has some severe consequences on the livelihood, on the sustenance of ecology, biodiversity, climate regulation, etc. So in summary, we have some relationship between the forest and civilization because they are characterized by the cycle of growth and decline or decay. Because the forest, they provide some necessary resources. Necessary resources for what? For human advancement. So in the first place, when the civilization is just starting at some place, the forest only provide the natural and the necessary resources for the human advancement in that civilization. But with time, what happens? With unchecked exploitation of resources, leads to environmental degradation, desertification. So that is the topic. So there is a relationship between the forest and civilization, and that is characterized by a cycle of growth and decay. Forest initiates the civilization, helps the civilization to grow for the human advancement. But with time, with unchecked exploitation of resources, the civilization goes into the degradation process, goes into desertification. So understanding this dynamic relationship is essential for fostering a sustainable future that respects or appreciates the human progress and ecological integrity at the same time. Right? So this topic is very familiar to every student. So this topic looks very easy for each and every aspirant. But here the catch is that the examiner would love to see a very impactful introduction. The body should be engaging enough. And the conclusion should be very hopeful, very optimistic and visionary. So if these three elements are addressed in your essay, then you're bound to get good marks. So with this understanding of the essay, let's now generate the dimensions of this particular essay. So let me read out the topic first. Forests precede civilizations and deserts follow them. That means forest is symbolizing the foundation of early civilization. So how it is happening? This is the first dimension of the essay. Second, why do civilizations often lead to environmental degradation, symbolized by deserts? Why does it happen so that the civilizations, they lead to environmental degradation? And what is the relationship between the ecological balance and rise and fall of civilizations? Then how does unsustainable human activity turn forest into deserts over time? So these dimensions you have to generate for this particular essay. This is a peripheral dimension. The primary dimension, the core dimension is that how does forest symbolize the foundation of early civilization and how then the civilization goes into degradation, symbolized by deserts. These are the core dimensions. Then you come to the critical dimension, the counter argument. That is it always necessary that the forest will precede the civilization? Is it always necessary that the civilization will be always followed by deserts? Are deserts inevitable? Or we are doing some good things that we are avoiding a desert-like situation to come? So these are the two primary counter arguments you can have for this particular essay. Since the essay is about two things, A and B, that forests precede civilizations and deserts follow them, so you can have an antithesis to this very statement that it is not necessary that all civilizations will be preceded by forest only. We'll talk about examples. Then again, second antithesis is that it is not necessary that deserts will always follow the civilization. Then you come to the way forward. That what lessons can the modern societies learn from the historical examples of environmental destruction following the civilizations so that we avoid a desert-like situation. We go for a sustainable future. So these are the basic dimensions which will come out of your brainstorming. So coming to the introduction part. Introduction may you can have any case study. You can take any case study you know where the forest has preceded civilization and the deserts have followed. And you can generate content for the anecdote. I have taken the case study of Rajasthan. In the heart of Rajasthan lies the Thar Desert, an expansive, arid landscape that once had flourishing greenery. Local folklore tells the story that how centuries ago the region was covered with dense forest. But as the communities grew and thrived, the forests were cleared for agriculture and settlements. And over time, the relentless deforestation, misuse of land led to the spread of barren land. What was once a cradle of civilization slowly turned into an unforgiving desert, where the water is scarce and life struggles to survive. So this is how you will generate content for the anecdote. You can take any case study, any example you know, and you can write in some creative language in order to generate your anecdote. So again, in the anecdote, you should be justifying the theme of the essay. You should be reinforcing the theme of essay again and again, as we have done over here. That this story mirrors the broad relationship between the human progress and environment, that forests give birth to life and prosperity, but neglect can turn them into desert. So this is reinforcing the idea of the essay. Throughout history, civilizations have relied on forest for their survival, and their downfall often coincided with the destruction of these natural resources. So now this essay will explore this delicate balance that is there between the forest and human society or civilization, highlighting that how the depletion of forest can lead to irreversible environmental damage. By examining both historical and modern examples, we will see that how the health of forest is not just an environmental concern, but a foundation of sustainable civilizations. So this is how you will place your thesis. This is how you will place your thesis, your understanding of the essay. You will reinforce the anecdote. That is your duty. You should not run away by writing some anecdote and then you say that my introduction is complete. No. After writing the anecdote, you have your duty in justifying that anecdote, that as to why you wrote that anecdote at that place. Then you come to the first dimension, that how do forests symbolize the foundation of early civilization? You can talk of Indus Valley civilization. Here, your duty is to first take care of the literal meaning of the essay. You should name some civilization as the topic is about civilizations. Then after you can go to the broad meaning of the essay, you can interpret more broadly. But firstly, you should be going with the literal meaning of the essay. So you can take example of IVC and how IVC was an early civilization and it relied on forest for fruits, nuts, game, materials for construction of homes. They used timber from nearby forests for building homes and crafting tools, supporting the foundation of their society. Again, you can talk of the water regulation, how the forest acts as a natural sponge. They can regulate the water cycle. The ancient civilization of Mesopotamia. It is situated between the Tigris and Euphrates River. Thrived because the nearby forest supported this steady water flow and irrigation of their lands. Then you can talk of Veda, that how ancient Indian texts like Atharva Veda, they mention that herbs that are collected from forest, they are used to cure diseases in the civilization, making forest essential part of health and survival of the civilization. You can talk that how forest, they are often held as religiously very important, symbolizing life and abundance. In Vedic period, the forests were considered sacred, with communities worshipping the nature deities, reflecting their role in spiritual life. Now also we see that in tribal life. How they consider some trees as sacred groves, much seen in the state of Rajasthan. Then how the climate also is stabilized because of forest. And that's how the forest will help maintain some stability in the climate, and that is essential for the agriculture to thrive. Mayan civilization you can talk of. Mayan civilization thrived in the tropical forest of Central America, benefiting from the consistent rainfall until deforestation led to environmental collapse. So these are the examples you should be talking about when you are justifying that how forests have preceded civilization, how they have symbolized the foundation of early civilizations. Then you talk of the second dimension, that how civilizations have often led to environmental degradation symbolized by deserts. You can talk of overexploitation of resources. How civilization, they exhaust the natural resources through excessive deforestation, mining, farming. Again, Mayan civilization, it collapsed partly due to the deforestation, soil depletion, turning their fertile lands into barren landscapes, because of which they faced severe droughts. Because deforestation or loss of forest can reduce the rainfall by 20 to 30%. Then you can talk of the modern times. You're done with one early example, one old example of Mayan civilization. Then you can come to the contemporary example or the modern example. This is how you can create diversity in your example. You can talk of the British times, how they exploited, how they cleared the forest for their own use. Cleared forest for timber, for agriculture, for infrastructure development, for laying railway lines. So large-scale deforestation was seen during the British colonial period because they had to boost cash crop production, and that degraded the forest cover, leading to soil erosion, and that was evident from the frequent famines that we faced. Then you can talk of another reason that why civilizations often lead to environmental degradation and symbolized by deserts is urbanizations and industrialization. So rapid urban growth in a region or industrial expansion that prioritize the profit making, that prioritizes the short-term development, and they do not think about the environmental sustainability. So this is the reason why the civilizations they turn into deserts, because they're least bothered about the environmental sustainability, rather they think of their profit making, their short-term development. You can take example of how the industrial projects in Soviet era, such as large-scale irrigation for cotton farming, it diverted the rivers that fed the Aral Sea. So through the diversion of rivers for having industrial projects in the Soviet, so they diverted the rivers that fed to the sea. And this resulted in desertification as the sea shrank by 90%, creating the Aralkum Desert. So now you see that how civilizations for their own use, they are inviting the desert-like situation. You can talk of ancient Rome, that how it witnessed large-scale deforestation to construct its grand city, Rome. So it suffered from over-exploitation of natural resources. Because large-scale deforestation was happening in Rome, and that reduced the food production and weakened its empire. You can take a quotation over here: deserts are expanding, our lands are drying up, and the entire civilizations are being threatened by the destruction of our ecosystem. Then you can talk of some Indian examples. In Aravalli region, what happened? Severe deforestation happened for mining activities, particularly for marble, for limestone, and that degraded the once fertile land. You can take examples of Bundelkhand, Kutch, and parts of Maharashtra. How they illustrate that the human activities have degraded once fertile land into barren landscapes. You can talk of water mismanagement, how unsustainable irrigation practices like excessive groundwater extraction, they lower the ground table, that turns the forest into dry wasteland. Punjab example, how Punjab's over-reliance on tube wells has shrunk the water reserves, has brought down the water table, and the barren land is the outcome. You can talk of Sundarbans, how it was a vital forest region. How it is a vital forest region, but again it is at risk due to the rising sea levels, the changing weather patterns. That is because of the overexploitation of the environment. Global warming is happening. Sea levels are rising. And that is how Sundarbans is getting into risk. So these are the examples you can talk of both from the early times and the modern times in order to showcase that how civilizations are turning into barren landscapes because of various reasons. Then you come to the counter argument. First counter argument, that it is not necessary that forest should be the predecessor always to the civilization. It is not necessary that forests are prerequisite for civilization. For example, Nile Valley. How ancient Egyptians, they thrived in the Nile Valley that was surrounded by desert. So forests need not precede the civilization always. Nile Valley is a classic example where it had started from a desert-like situation. So their success was based on a river system rather than the forest resources. You can talk of the Middle East. How because of our modern technology, modern innovations in irrigation and agriculture, that has helped in the sustenance of the civilization there, without any reliance on forest. So forests need not precede the civilization always, because it has enabled sustainable farming there without any reliance on forests, thus challenging the idea that forests are essential for civilization. So these are classic examples. Then you can also talk of that how it is not necessary that civilizations have declined always due to significant forest loss. There are complex interactions. You cannot say that civilizations will only turn into deserts because of the degradation or forest loss. You can talk of Khmer Empire, how it collapsed due to factors like climate change, over-reliance on rice cultivation, rather than outright deforestation. You can talk of the Sahara Desert, how it expanded much because of the climatic shifts. It was not because of the destruction of forest there or civilization there. So there is a natural process of desertification we have to appreciate. So that's how you can create counter to this very statement. Then you again take a counter of the second part of the quotation which is given to you in the question, that deserts are not inevitable outcome of any civilization. You can talk of Indian civilization, which is still thriving through its environment first approach, that the civilization and the forest can coexist without converting into deserts. You can talk of Chipko movement, you can talk of Narmada Bachao Andolan, a PICO movement, how we are taking various measures so as to check that the civilization and the forest are coexisting. You can talk of Japan, how the companies there are utilizing artificial intelligence for energy efficiency, for carbon reduction strategies, showcasing their commitment towards green innovation across industries also. So they're checking themselves so that we do not move towards a desert-like situation. And in the way forward of this essay, you can discuss some lessons that we can learn from modern societies in order to avoid the civilizations turning into deserts. So we should be taking care of the sustainability over exploitation. You cannot have civilization without stability, and you cannot have stability without sustainability. This quotation you can always quote in any of the environment-based essays. You cannot have civilization without stability, and you cannot have stability without sustainability. So sustainability is such important. Modern societies must prioritize sustainable agricultural practices to avoid repeated historical mistakes. We should also take care of the water management. Present-day urban centers need better water conservation to prevent a similar fate. We should respect for nature. We should learn from the case studies from Vishnois, how they revered nature, preserving ecosystems for centuries. And we can adopt their values that can ensure long-term harmony between development and environmental protection. You can talk of some international case study over here. How Costa Rica is a global leader in sustainable forest management. It has reversed deforestation by implementing reforestation programs, by paying the landowners to preserve forest, and committing to become carbon neutral by 2050. As a result of these initiatives, their forest cover has increased from 21% in 1987 to 53% today. So you can have these case studies ready with you in order to quote in any environment-based essays. Some international case studies from some Indian case studies. Then you can also talk of China's Great Green Wall, how it illustrates that large-scale reforestation initiatives can combat desertification and promote ecological resilience. You can talk of our system, Panchayati Raj system in India, how it demonstrates the potential for local communities to sustainably manage forest. PESA. Gram Sabha is given all the power to manage forest. This shows the significance of participatory approach, particularly at the grassroots level, in order to maintain sustainability. Because we should believe in the trustship model, where it builds on the idea that these gifts from nature are a legacy we should be directing for the future generations. We should be keeping it safe for the future generations. The approach should be holistic approach that should be aligned with the SDG 15 that focuses on life on land and ecosystem preservation. So this is how you can talk about the various initiatives, best case studies, the value system, okay, and some SDGs in any essay related to environment in the way forward part. Then you come to the conclusion. You have to connect to the introduction. So the tale of Rajasthan's Thar Desert serves as a poignant reminder of the intricate relationship between the forest and civilization. While it is evident that the forests have historically provided the resources and ecological balance necessary for human societies to flourish, the assertion that the deserts inevitably follow their decline is more complex. So this is what we have gotten from the complete understanding or description of the essay. That completely or having that assertion that deserts will inevitably follow each and every civilization is a very complex assertion. Okay, we have seen those arguments in the antithesis part. So this is your synthesis especially. What you get out of your thesis and antithesis. You have to take a final stand in the conclusion. That we cannot say that always deserts have to follow the civilization. Examples from ancient and modern civilization illustrates that how the human innovations adaptability can enable the societies to thrive in diverse environments, even the arid ones. Moreover, natural processes can lead to desertification independent of human actions. So we should appreciate the natural process of desertification also. Okay, so along with appreciation of desertification, we have to take care of the forest. We have to understand the importance of sustainable practices that will honor our forest, that will prevent the loss of forest. Because the interconnectedness of human existence with the forest system, wherever it is happening, it is very crucial for fostering any sustainable future where both civilizations and forests can thrive together. So the choice is ours to either allow deserts to follow us or to cultivate any flourishing forest as partners in our progress. So by learning from the past and fostering a balanced coexistence with the nature, we can prevent the cycle of growth leading to decay. We can prevent the decay-like situation by ensuring that we do not repeat the similar mistakes that has happened in the past. Rather, we should pave a path towards a more sustainable future. We should understand the dynamic relationship between the forest and civilization and how important it is that they work together, work in tandem. As Bandana Shiva rightly quotes, that when we destroy forest, we destroy our ability to sustain life on earth. So wherever there are forests, wherever forests are the foundation of civilizations, we should be taking care of that. We should be mindful of the sustainability of forest and see forest as our partners in our progress. And try our best to avoid a desert-like situation. So first you will connect to the introduction, then give your stand, your synthesis part. Then you come to your optimistic, hopeful conclusion. You'll talk about the coexistence. Right? So this is how the essay was meant to be written. Okay, hope I'm clear with each and every idea that was to be there in this essay. Any other idea you have, you please write it down in the comment section. I'll be happy to see them and have a discussion with you people. Okay, until then, goodbye, take care, and stay tuned to our channel for the next discussion.